It was 1956. My father broke away from Waldorf Paper Products and started his own agency. He called it the Reyn Guyer Agency of Design, and they invented new ways to open and close paper carton packaging. He came to me and said, "Try coming with me and see how you like it." So I was working on a product, an idea. We put strap-colored bands around the kids' feet, and they have this grid, and they try to get from one part to the other, and we called it Roman Tootsie or something like that. The game, it obviously didn't work. We were laughing so hard. It didn't make any difference. All of a sudden I thought, bingo, that's it. People are the players. At one point, Chuck saw the model of the Roman Tootsie, and he said, "What's that?" The purchasing agent said, "Well, Reyn is working on some games, and that's one of them." And well, Chuck said, "I've worked for so-and-so in the game industry. Can I talk to him?" He convinced me that he knew something about the toy industry. So we formed this team around the idea of the people being the players. And my father, to his great credit, went to the bank and he put it on the line. This was 1965. Ravens basically said, "Why don't we put our hands on the board too?" Chuck said he knew of the people at Milton Bradley, and their biggest game was the game of life. This would be, we knew, a real divergent path for them. Mel Taft said, "I'm going to see if we can put this one through." The working title was Pretzel. It got pretty far down the line. They were starting to make TV spots. There was a slight problem with the name Pretzel and another toy. So they went with Twister, much to my consternation. I thought Twister was a terrible name. And everything was going just fine until one day I got a call from Mel Taft. It was about 10 days before Christmas. He said, "Reyn, I am very sorry, but we're going to pull this whole thing." We looked, we showed it to Sears, and they said, "Nope, it's just too risque, it's too off color." My father and I were in his office, and Chuck came in, and he said, "Okay, I quit, and I'm going to sue you." And my father and I, "Sue us? What in the world what object have you in mind? How could you sue us?" So the lawyer that he had hired sent over a piece of paper demanding 2.5% of the gross of Twister for 3 years. And our lawyer said, "Reyn, take it." What I did was pull away from the Reyn Guyer Agency of Design and built this office space. And out of that process came the Nerf products. Oftentimes the ideas that really become successes break a rule. And to wit, Twister, it broke a rule, and that was an implied moral rule at the time that still hangs over to some extent, that people don't get that close to each other in a social setting unless they're dancing. And that broke a rule. That was a rule that was broken. In the case of Nerf, what's the rule? No, don't throw any balls in the house. Sorry, you can throw a Nerf ball. You can throw a Nerf ball in the house. Those are two simple examples. The other would be, don't worry about the name. I learned that very early when we went with Pretzel and were so disappointed when Pretzel couldn't be chosen. And we went with Twister, which for me was a negative concept. Nobody seemed to care. It's Twister. There's a magic in being able to share your ideas openly and freely.